Hey there, Libra Sun, Libra Moon, Libra Rising. It's Maggie from Moon Directed. Welcome to my channel. Here we work with the energy of the moon to see how we can best utilize it to move our life forward in the most positive way possible. And today we're going to talk about what that moon is doing the week of April 20th through the 26th. And there is a lot of crazy energy this week, so buckle up, hang in there. So before I get started, thank you so much for connecting your energy to mine. When you hit that thumbs up, when you leave me a comment, then when I try to channel messages for you, which I did today, I can connect into your energy and you're more likely to get a message that resonates for you. It does help grow my channel, gets the word out there. That's all really good stuff. It also is a great way to say thank you for the time that I put into this. So it's just a second of your time to repay me for like 30 minutes of my time to do their video and then edit and get it up, right? So the other thing I want to do is really encourage you to check out your sun, your moon, your rising, and there's a reason for this, right? So at different times of the year, different parts of it will resonate more for you than others. But your sun sign, you know, that's what the day you were born. That's set up then. And that's pretty easy to find, and most people know what that is. The rising sign and the moon sign, you really need to use a calculator to figure out what those are. And there's lots of free ones online. Do not pay for that, right? So just put in free astrological chart, and you should get calculators that come up for like Cafe Astrology or Astro Dentist or Astro Theme. Those are all really good ones. And there's others, I'm sure. Because what happens is when at the time you were born, in the place you were born, the sun is coming up on the horizon. And so that's what your ascendant sign is. And that's your first house. And this is where your destiny comes from. So where your houses are as they work around the chart, this is what sets that up. And so, well, for you, I should go backwards, right? So, but it tells you where your first house is, where your second house is. So your first house of you, your second house of, you know, what you value. And so that kind of information and where the planets are and how they line up and how they tick things off and how they handle the energies. That's why when I say, you know, well, this is in your third house. Well, that's third house if you are Libra rising. And so knowing where your rising sign is really beneficial because that is the destiny, that is the path that you were on, that is where you're going. It's a really important piece of information if you can get that. The moon sign is another one. That is about how you feel, how you react and respond to what's going on around you. And so I like to really focus on the moon here because that energy is quick moving. It explains how you're feeling about things and it can help you to make decisions, right? So when you look up your chart, if you don't know what time you were born, you put in 12 noon, and the moon may or may not be completely accurate because it changes signs every 2.5 days. So if the moon sign doesn't seem to resonate, try the one before or after. So say you're in Aries and it doesn't really resonate for Aries moon, so then maybe it's a Taurus moon or maybe you have a Pisces moon, depending on when the moon shifted sign that day and what time you were born, which you may not know, right? So check that out, and it's really beneficial to you. So I did channel a message for you. They were like TikTok messages today. They were so quick. They were so short. Not a lot of time to really get into the details of very many of them. So for you, you had this time lapse of an apple tree that was blossoming and then going through the different stages and bearing fruit all the way to the apple. And it was so fast. It was like really kind of cool how fast that went. So I needed more help and more guidance for all the messages. I did not, and I should have looked up what an apple blossom represents. So you should look that up for yourself. Spiritual meaning of apple blossom or apples, whatever, both, because it really was the flowering to the fruit. So here we go. This is the Foxfire, the Kitsune Oracle by Lucy Cavendish, and I use that to help me get additional information. You actually got 2 cards. There's just a couple signs that got 2 cards. So actually, both of these cards also showed up for other signs. So again, it's always good to know what all your signs are. So we have here, leave behind what is no longer you. And so, you know, as the apple is developing, the petals fall off, right? So it's just in the center where it becomes the fruit, in the pistil and the stylus, right in the center, right? But the flowers fall off because they're no longer necessary. They're no longer part. They were important to attract in the bees to fertilize, to create the apple, but they're no longer necessary. And so it's time to release that and let that go. I'm actually going to read the second card to you. And this one I'm just going to kind of go through really quickly, but This is about you choosing what it is that feels less true to you, and you're asked to choose to let go of that which is less true than it ever was before, and to choose what feels like a pattern that you have attachment to. That's what you should be releasing. For once you walk through the gateway, adorned with all the attachments, we cease to make our former self and others and responsibilities our major commitment. Instead, your undoing becomes a re-becoming and will surface and demand in its place the next stage of your life. This is the gateway to freedom. First, you put down the burden of the attachment to who you believe you are, and or more truthfully, who you believe you ought to be, and you rebirth yourself and allow yourself to allow the magic to work into the endless reimagining of you. And so from the flower to the fruit. And it's really important, that stage thing, because you have beauty of age that came up for the other card. And the beauty of age is about, in some societies, youth is revered more than the elders, but in other societies they revere the elders because of the wisdom, right? Experience gets distilled down into wisdom. And so many people, as they grow older, begin to feel they must wither, but others dance into their elder years, finding partnerships and beginning new projects and allowing their true selves and eccentricities to become more and more clear. And until we are buoyed up by their active, daring lives, you too will thrive, grow older, and dance. You too can become more beautiful as you age and define the stereotypes that would have us wither and decline and become invisible to the world. Speak to people, venture out, rebel against those who urge you to behave in ways that are not true to you. Make your life a divine shower of sparkling inspiration wherever you go, for as long as you are blessed to live. There is such a shift going on right now. And so you're being asked, okay, about 25% of my viewers are under the age of 35. 75% are older. So for the vast majority of you, this is a message to be willing to embrace your physical changes and not worry about that. And instead, what can you do? What do you want to do? Write your next chapter. I don't know about you. It depends on where your age is. There is no way that I ever want to be 30s again. The 30s were so hard. You come out of your Saturn return into a Saturn square that is so freaking tough. Like, people who enjoy their 30s, I don't know what you're doing. It's amazing. I'm proud of you. My 30s were so much work, right? They were so hard. I don't want to be 30 again. I don't want to do any of that decade. When I turned 40, I'm like, oh, finally. So, but there was knowledge and there was wisdom that was gained from that. Those life experiences, I was able to use them and utilize them and use them to my advantage moving forward. And that happens at every age and stage. So you have a Saturn square at around 15, 16, when you start pushing against, what your parents want. Well, that's a Saturn opposition. Yes, that's your Saturn oppositions around 14, 15. And so then by the time you hit that, 21, 22, that's your square where you're like, really, everything's like, I'm me, I'm deciding who I am. And you come up on your Saturn return, which asks you, did you learn all the lessons that you were supposed to? Reevaluate, and that comes around 29, 30, right? So for those of you who are under 30, that's what's going on. So then at like 37, you have your Saturn square, and so knowledge and information starts coming in, and then you have your opposition around 50. Oh, 50 is so amazing. When that 49 or so, where that opposition is 48, 49, those are kind of tough. We get a lot of midlife crises that happen during that time. When you get on the other side of 50, you're like, it's a whole new world. So every age and stage as you're going along has its lessons and its blessings and its gifts of wisdom. Distilling it down and using it is such a beautiful thing. And for some reason this week, this is really being brought up for you. Now, it could be because Aries is in your 7th house of partnerships. Aries is your 7th house of partnerships, and we start out the week with the moon in there. And it comes into conjunction with Chiron, the wounded healer. It drags up all those emotional baggage and feelings and things that are really tough to work our way through. And so there is this feeling this week of like people triggering us and hurting us, and the need to heal through it. And so if, because Libra likes things of beauty, it might be harder for you to go through the aging process in some way or the other. And maybe some of that stuff's being triggered. Maybe you can't get your hair done because you can't even get out of the house. I don't know what it is. Some of us are gaining weight because we can't, get to the gym, or we're just sitting around Netflix, binge watching and eating. Who knows, right? The energy is really stagnant, and yet it's there for a reason. It's to pull within. It's to allow us to go in and to distill information and knowledge, and to connect with spirit and to make plans, because we came to a kind of like a stop, because we're moving from one age to the next. And so in order to not drop the transmission, we had to come to a complete stop before we shifted gears. And so that's kind of what's happening here. And so you're being asked to like look at your life and go, okay, well, what can I do here? How can I manage this? And seems like a freaking big week for you guys, a bigger week than anybody else. Don't really know exactly why that is, except there might be that triggering in your relationship house, that moon being in opposition to your natal sun. There is something going on there, but so that moon is in Aries, and there's all of this insecurities being brought up, and there's a need to deal with it and to work your way through it. How did you feel on March 24th? If you can remember back to if there was something significant that happened that day, because that was when the new moon in Aries came into conjunction with Chiron. There's kind of probably that same thing being dug up again, chance to look at it again. There is a sense of frustration that's going to come in this week, because you don't have the kind of control that you would like. And so there is a need, a requirement by the universe to release and to let go of the things that are not bringing you the happiness and the peace that you totally deserve, to get yourself centered. So let go of the fight and instead embrace the information and embrace the experiences and embrace what it is, the wisdom and what you're gaining from it, and find time and space for yourself. Create that opportunity to take this and make this a beautiful thing. And there's so much fear mongering going to be going on this week, just because of the planets are horrible. Just rough week. So maybe limiting how much news you take in, how much social media you take in. Just kind of pulling into yourself and evaluating where you are. Oh, this is beautiful. So you have flow. It's Poseidon, and so this is about emotional flow. This is about flowing with your emotions, allowing them to flow through you. Yes, you feel them. You should feel them, but don't dwell on them. Allow them to examine them and use the wisdom to figure out what's going on, so that you can heal that, so that you can move yourself forward. So that ends up being an opportunity to gain wisdom, self-knowledge, self-awareness, and set yourself up for the next stage. Because we have a new moon this week, which is nice. The new moon is in Taurus. Taurus is also ruled by Venus. Taurus is very, whereas in Libra, Venus is about the beauty and relationships. In Taurus, it's about the money. It's about self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. That feels significant. Self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. I think that feels significant because I just did, if you haven't seen it yet, and many people haven't, there was very low views, because I think when I put it up wasn't my usual day. I will attach the link to your month of Taurus video. It was all about self-worth, self-value, self-esteem for you. So this is significant. This week is significant. The sun just moved into Taurus, and I can see this is really ticking that in there. So, okay. So self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and financial resources, though, right? And so this is very fertile ground. This is an opportunity to plant your seeds of intention for where you want to go. What do you want to do 18 months from now? So by releasing the negative emotions and instead welcoming in the wisdom that comes from age and experience, and trusting in the whole situation, letting go what doesn't work, and allowing, the flower to bear fruit, it's a new beginning. It's a new opportunity. It's going to require patience. It's an 18-month cycle to get back to where the seeds of tension that are planted with this new moon. It starts with, what are you grateful for? Counting your blessings puts you in a mindset of abundance. A mindset of abundance attracts in more abundance so that you can create a new beginning. So you can step through that gateway. I want to show you something. Look at this. See the gateway? Letting go of what doesn't work so that you can move forward. Letting go of what doesn't work so you can move forward. Realizing that through the keyhole, through the gateway, on the other side, there is something amazing waiting for you. So you are told to ask for your needs to be met. That means that the angels, the guides, the universe, it's all standing by waiting to help you. But have you asked? Because they can't help you unless you ask. And so asking for the help, and if you don't know what to ask for, just say, God, help me. I need some help here. I need guidance. I need protection. Just please help me. Put the right people in my life to guide me, give me the right ideas, the right inspiration, help me to know when not to go. When you keep running into a roadblock, a wall, a stop, there is a reason it's there. Because they're guiding you. Like, that's not the way to go. So remember to get into the flow. Allow yourself to flow through life. If you're constantly coming up against a brick wall, it's time to reassess whether or not that is the direction in which you should be heading, right? So, all right. So that moon in Taurus gets there at 6:59 p.m. on Wednesday. The new moon happens at 10:26 p.m. And then it starts squaring off. That's that energy, that's fighting energy. It starts squaring off with the planet of transformation, Pluto, with the planet of expansion, Jupiter, with the planet of structure and organization, Saturn. So the moon is going to make you feel like, what in the F, right? But here's the thing. It is just 2 days, okay? So hang in there. Flow through the emotions, but what is it bringing up? Pay attention to that. What do you want to create for yourself? Pay attention to that. Write the stuff down. Write it down. That is a soul contract you are making with yourself when you write things down. Write down what it is that you want to create for yourself. What do you want your life to look like 18 months from now? And you know, and then Friday is a good energy day. Just heads up on that. That's a nice day. But on Saturday, it gets tough again. So really enjoy the energy of that. On Thursday, though, there's this moment where the moon comes into conjunction with Uranus, and there is a breakthrough in the way you are feeling about something. So be willing to flow through that energy. Allow that to happen. And then when you get to Saturday, when the moon moves into Gemini, it gets there at 3:20 a.m., the energy shifts into that acceptance of the situation. Also, you should be getting some downloads of some ideas. Something should spark in you. Some kind of a breakthrough of an idea. And so do the research on it. Don't share it. The communication that day sucks for the world. We have Mercury squaring off with Pluto and with Jupiter. And so trying to get someone else to understand what you're seeing is not the way to go. Instead, do the research. It's a great day for doing research. It's a great day for accepting the guidance and the help that you've asked for from Spirit on guiding you on what it is you're working toward and where you're thinking and where you're growing to create growth. It's also a good day to accept the situation for what it is and stop fighting for something that doesn't work for you, right? I'm hesitating here because one says take action. You are in touch with your truth in this situation and you need to trust your gut and lovingly assert yourself. And the other one says no, conditions aren't favorable right now. Wait or look into other options and ask angels for help and guidance to comfort you. And I'm like, that's so freaking Libra. I can see both sides. This would be good. Maybe I should win. This would be good. Okay. I'm telling you, the planets are not in the condition to be doing anything, so wait. But take action on the research. Take action on writing the commitment down. Take action on getting clear about what it is that you want. Trust your gut. I feel like you need to lovingly assert yourself with yourself about what it is that you want. The action steps at this point really feel like they need to be, I'm going to get another card though, really feel like they need to be about the research. There's going to be steps that you need. There's things that are going to need, it's 18 months. Taurus is very fertile in ground to be planting seeds of intention in, but it also requires a lot of patience. So you have time, do the research to figure out what needs to go in that would be right. Oh, okay, so now we have like 1,000 cards. Okay, so patience, Omega. So this is an ending. Victory, your desire is coming to fruition. Keep up the good work. This feels like if you are patient, you will find the victory. And the angel of abundance, you will receive the money that you need, and God is in charge of how that will happen. The patience and the victory, that all makes sense. I bring you a message from a deceased loved one. I am happy and at peace, and I love you very much. Please don't worry about me. So for those of you who have suffered a loss recently, or maybe a long time ago, maybe you're missing somebody, that message was for you. Losing loved ones is always hard. It feels like, oh, that was too soon. It wasn't their time. But souls leave when they're supposed to, when they choose to. So I bring you a message from your deceased loved one. I am happy, at peace, and I love you very much. Please don't worry about me. And this one is, you have a gift working with young people, and your divine purpose involves helping, teaching, parenting children. So for those of you who thinking about going into some sort of a form of working with children, that feels like a kind of a yes in that direction. But research is needed. Take your time. The abundance, it's coming, right? In the end, if you are patient, if you plant the seeds and you till the ground and you keep the weeds out and you do the hard work, you can get there. You can get there. Make sure you ask for help and the guidance you need. All right? I will see you back here on Monday. It is an interesting week. Oh, color card. It is an interesting week. No doubt about it. I think if you can just be patient, do the research, and flow with the emotions going through you, you can create the balance in your life, Violet. Create balance in your life. So allow the emotions to flow through you. Feel them. Recognize them. Acknowledge them. But don't hang on to them. Let them flow through. Okay? All right, you take care, and I'll see you next week.